Hi, everyone, and welcome to the final application workshop for the Google for Education Certified Innovator Program, Denmark 2018 cohort. Thanks for coming. We've got a few of our coaches. We've got one of the Googlers who will be hosting us here today, all gathered to give you some feedback on what hopefully is your final steps in applying for this awesome program. In the chat, if you wouldn't mind, I think a lot of you are already in there sharing your names, but let's just give a moment for you to share your name, city, job role, and what stage you are at in this application. So if you've already applied and you're here for the fun, let us know. Maybe you just completed your level 2 certification and now you're working on your short answers and video. Or maybe you have it all done and you're just wanting some feedback before you press the big submit button. Or maybe you're thinking about this for 2019 and you're just here to learn more about the application process. We're all very nice on this Hangout and we will take you all. So let us know where you're at right now. And we'll go ahead and introduce our other awesome people on the call. So we have Dan Stratford from Google joining us. Hey, Dan, how's it going?
Hey, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. So I'm Dan. I look after the Certified Innovator Program from the Google side, and really excited to have you all on the call. Especially excited to see all the videos you're putting together. It's super fun and inspiring to see the challenges that you all are tackling and the passion that you have for bringing innovation into the work that you do. So thanks for being here. Hopefully we can answer your questions, and yeah, hope to see you in Copenhagen.
Thanks, Dan. And Dan works a lot with school transformation and culture shift, and watching your videos and seeing your applications definitely inspires that work. I know, Dan. So thanks for
100%.
What are you most looking forward to in Copenhagen?
Oh, I mean, besides the academy, of course, there's the Christmas market in Tivoli Gardens, which sounds amazing.
Yay! Everyone will have awesome gifts in your family. So yeah. Cool. All right, Ingvi, welcome. How are you? What you have a nice cardigan on today. Where did you get your cardigan?
Good question, Wendy. I got it in Denmark.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's a story about the cardigan. Actually, you didn't know that? You thought I got it from Hurra here in Iceland, right?
I did. It looks like an Iceland original. Tell us about your cardigan and how you'll Denmark.
Well, actually, I was flying through Denmark once, and I was flying to Switzerland, if I remember, and decided to take a cheaper flight and do a layover in Denmark and save myself some money, but it was like a 6-hour layover. And then I spent so much time looking at the stores there that I spent it was a lot more than I saved on the flight on this cardigan. So I ended up shopping and I bought a wool and like a down jacket for like I think it was like $800 or something. So it ended up costing me a lot more to stop over in Denmark. So I'm gonna hope that's not gonna happen when I see you all at the Innovator Academy.
And this
one is not
might be on Danish clothing, right? Maybe your
what's that?
Will your spark be on Danish clothing and you can take us all out one evening after?
Might be. But anyway, I'm Ingvi Martin. I'm a Chief Innovation Officer here at a school district in Iceland. And yeah, just excited. Sweden 17. I was in the Sweden 17 Innovator Academy. And I'm so excited to be back and see you guys in Denmark. Anything else you wanted to know?
What time did you submit your application for Sweden 17? Were you early bird or were you last minute?
Good question. I probably 2 weeks before, something like that, maybe.
Yeah. All right.
It's tough. I didn't like overthink it. I could have saved it until the last minute. I don't think I did, but you know, be yourself and do your best. Don't spend like the next 4 weeks or whatever, 3 weeks or 2 weeks until submission to do it all. Just be yourself and do it as well as you can. And I think that's the only thing I can tell you.
Thanks, Ingvi. All right, Jesse, tell us what are you up to and any words of wisdom on applications as they're getting ready to press submit.
So I'm Jesse Levinsky, Director of Technology and Innovation for the Irvington Union Free School District in Irvington, New York. We're about 20 minutes north of New York City. I was New York 2008 was my cohort. So it was Google certified teacher back then. But I do remember going through the application process. I think Ingvi hit it right on the head. Don't overthink it. I think as people have been coming to me asking me for advice or just what should I do, the best advice I can give is be yourself. Don't try to answer the questions the way you think we want you to answer them. Try to answer them as true to yourself as possible. Let us see the real you. And I think that's the best guide you can give yourself, because I think the worst thing that could happen is, there are people who've gone through this process multiple times, and the last thing you want is to feel like you weren't true to yourself in submitting that application. So share your big idea. Let us see the real you.
Thanks, Jesse. And what are you most looking forward to Copenhagen besides cardigans?
Man, I was gonna say besides cardigans, that was my #1 answer. The cardigans. Food, man. Come on, you know me. With me, it's always a food thing. So I'm already got the list of places. I'm ready to roll.
Well, make sure you put it in our cohort map when it comes up, all your places. So
absolutely. We
have after evening tours by Jesse. Awesome. Thanks, Jesse, and thanks for the words of advice from a veteran, for sure. Wow. All right, and then Les, our design coach. Hey, Les, where are you today? Oh, I think you might be muted.
Hey, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Hi, everyone. I'm Les, and I'm based here in Toronto. I'm actually in Toronto today, which is not normal for me. But I'm the Director of Professional Development at Future Design School, based here in Toronto. And we work with schools all over North America, helping teachers to use design thinking and innovation methods in their classrooms to build deep inquiry and project-based learning experiences for students. And I'm super excited to be coming to Denmark for the Academy this year. I'm the design coach for most of the innovation academies. So this will be my second one in Scandinavia. I was at Sweden last year as well, and really looking forward to meeting you. One of the most amazing things about this program is getting to meet teachers from all over the world and hear about what's happening in your schools and your classrooms. What were the other questions, Wendy?
Most looking forward to Copenhagen.
Oh, Copenhagen, riding bikes. I love riding bikes, and especially in Copenhagen, where you have amazing bicycle infrastructure. So I'm looking forward to just biking around the city and seeing what there is to see.
Awesome. Yeah, there's actually a bike in the Google office in Copenhagen. So maybe Les will bike to and from the session. So thanks, Les. We'll come back to you in a few minutes when we start to dive into the challenge questions to get some of your insights on how to frame your challenge statements that all of you are working on for your applications. Thanks. Meta, how are you? Where are you tonight?
Hi, I'm at my home. I just skipped my children to football and ready for this meeting with you. I'm from the cohort from London in 13, so it's a while. But I was a coach last year in Sweden together with Les and Ingvi, so I'm looking forward to work with them again. I'm looking forward to getting to know all of the Danish cohort and hear what they are struggling with in their work life, and hang around in Copenhagen a few days. So I'm looking forward to it.
Thanks, Mette. And you can teach us some Danish. What's Danish for good luck?
Held og lykke.
All right, held og lykke to everybody. Thanks so much. And then you can also help add to Jesse's food map and where we should go, and Ingvi's shopping map.
Yeah, I'm pretty good at both. So, so please, I already asked some of my friends in Copenhagen where to go. So I have a long list I can distribute to all of you with the good restaurants in Copenhagen. So feel free.
Awesome. Thanks so much. Okay, guys, let's look at all of the awesome chat going off right now. So let's see who is out there now and what you all are, what stage you're in. So we've got Hey Paul and Sonal and Simone. And it looks like, just taking a peek here in terms of what stage everybody's in, it looks like some people are just about finished. You got New York, Bangladesh. Hey, Imran. Cool. So if you haven't popped in yet, it looks like Simone's working on video right now. So we'll look at some video ideas here in a bit. Simone, we got lots of level 2s in the house. Is there anyone in the chat who has not finished their level 2 certification yet? If you haven't, you probably want to try it now, because if you don't pass, you may not have enough time now to retake it. So you may want to get final tips and tricks for your level 2 certification. Jocelyn, you just want final feedback. Jane, you drafted your questions. Perfect. Ready to record, Sonal. How important is the video to the application? Elena, that's a really great question to kick us off. I know that everyone on this call and other innovators all score the applications. And I think the video is one of the strongest pieces to getting to know your personality. Innovators on the call, any other thoughts on how important the video is to you when you're scoring applications?
I think the video is a great way to show a little bit more of your personality. I think in the answers to your questions and in your other materials, you have a limited amount of space and time, and so I think, echoing what Ingvi said, of just being yourself and letting your personality come through and tell people who you are and why you think you'd be a great fit for the program, that really can come across really well in the video.
I think the video freaks people out. That's the part that people seem to get the most nervous about, is the video. And I know people who they've applied and then I've seen their application, and what I see of them in that video is not what I know about them in real life. Like, they come out flat because they're nervous and they just really want to get their idea across. Have fun with it. Just have fun with it. I think that they changed the frame of the video a little bit to where you're talking about the problem. We're not asking you to outline a whole solution in the actual video itself. So, keep in mind, 90 seconds seems short, but that's a long time. It's a lot of time to be able to, give us some insight into who you are. And I think the other thing is, you don't have to be the best video production expert in the whole world. No one's looking for this. I think, and speaking for myself, not necessarily other graders, but there isn't anything about having the most well-produced video, out of everyone. It's really about who you are, what is your big idea, and how are you getting that across? How are you getting yourself across to us?
Thanks, Jesse. I've pulled up here. Kimberly said she's scripting out her video right now. So Ingvi, I've got your video here from Sweden up. How did you script this out for Sweden? Looks like you've got some really good footage of schoolyards here. You're put in some text. What were your thoughts behind when you were thinking about where you would take? Did you shoot with your phone? Did you shoot with your video? What was your thought process to help people like Kimberly out who are just beginning to kind of storyboard out what they're going to do?
Actually, I thought of this didn't even turn out to be my project. Eventually, it was an idea that I wanted to do, and during Les's when we were doing the design thinking challenge with Les, I started going in a whole other direction, and then even another direction after we left. So, but it was an idea about free play. I was reading a book at the time, if I remember correctly, called Free to Learn or something. I think it's called that, and it's about free play. And I was walking my dog, and I didn't see a lot of kids at the playgrounds. So that was the problem that I started out with. Like, how might we, help children go out more and do that? And can we incorporate technology into that as well? So that was my original idea. So it was just videos I took on a walk with the dog. So if you have a dog, take him for a walk. If you don't, borrow one, and you might get some good ideas.
Puppies always win.
Yeah.
Thanks, Ingvi. And I think that there's some good tips in there for using inspiration around you. And I think just seeing some footage from your video there that put your face into it, you've got your personality, and you've got some, imagery that's, maybe provokes thinking in it, and some text in there too. So nice example. There was a question somebody had in here about video, how much the solution should be in it. So I'll switch gears here for a minute, and I'm going to go ahead and share my screen to your short answer doc, if you guys have that. So let me pop that up. And so if you have that, open that up now so you can get some direct feedback on some of these. But we'll go ahead and scroll down to the projects, since we got that question in the chat. And you'll see that there's a brief description of a challenge you're facing. So in Yngvie's case, looking at something that was, made him think, that was bothering him, and then, thinking of how might we change that. So go ahead and throw in the chat maybe what your description of your challenge is right now. I mean, you can copy and paste that directly from your short answer if you'd like. I think the most important thing, and maybe Les, you can elaborate, is really focusing on the challenge at this point and not the solution. So Andy, you mentioned in the chat, how much solution should we put in there? Like you heard Yngvie say, it's important not to get too married to a solution, because we want to spend 3 days with you really unpacking that challenge. You'll find other people in the cohort have similar challenges, so you'll get to work with them to think of something really, really radical that might be able to change education and solve that problem. And not that you won't be able to solve that right now with your idea, but we really want you to be open-minded to think of all that's possible. Les, did you want, as people are sharing their challenge descriptions, did you want to add any more about, as people are starting to write these out in their application, what they should think of?
Yeah, I think as you're working through the idea of thinking about what your challenge is, it's really important to think about not just the challenge that you're facing, but what are the challenges that your users are facing, or the people that are affected by this challenge. So try to gather other points of view beyond just your own point of view as you're thinking about your problem. So if you get a chance to go and just talk to other people, in the staff room at lunch, or chatting with your friends over drinks, talking to other people that are experiencing the problem and really trying to understand from their point of view, I think will give you more insight into why this is so important. And especially when you're thinking of that next question that I see Wendy has up now around who are the people that are affected by it, and really understanding their point of view would be helpful. Awesome,
thanks, Les. And I think to separate your application from others, seeing that eye to detail on there to make, if it looks like you actually maybe talked to someone and really got at the root of a problem. A lot of our problems in education are very similar, but the interesting parts of it are from those conversations. And if you think of students not being motivated, I think that's a huge problem a lot of people have. But if you really, in your application, start to think of why that might be, those are where the interesting solutions probably are. So let's take a look at our chat and see what some of your challenge descriptions are. Did anybody throw something in? Thanks, Kimberly. Our children face new challenges in our globally technology-connected society. We need to find a way to link learning, logic, and love, and create a culture of respect and knowledge. Cool. So if that's your description of your challenge, then I think the focusing on the user is maybe what are the kind of symptoms of that what are you seeing specifically that show that, and maybe that specificity being in your description and in your talking about your users would really help paint a picture of this problem for innovators reading this. So that might be one tip for putting this into words. Any other thoughts around those two questions from our panel today, on both describing your challenge and describing who's affected by your challenge?
I think that the more specific you can be in your user, like I love to use the term imagine, like imagine you're a student in a classroom, and this is what you're experiencing every single day when it comes to whatever your challenge is. Or imagine, you know, you're walking around a playground, to go back to Ingvi's original challenge, and there's no children on the playground. Like, where are they? What are they doing right now? And that term, just imagine if, is a great way to help who's ever reading your application really start to feel that empathy for your user and try to understand the challenge that they're experiencing.
Totally. Thanks, Les. And I think as you Kimberly, you mentioned scripting out your video, and this really probably is scripting out your video right now. So if you think of how do you take these two questions and visualize that and tell a story out of that in 90 seconds, that should be kind of the beginnings of storyboarding it out, right? So if you're thinking, how do I, in your case, with learning logic and love and a culture of respect, you know, how would you put that into your video? How could you show that this is a problem, right? Is there any specific, either maybe interviews with a student or a fellow teacher, or a story that tells how maybe this is a challenge right now, and putting that to life on screen? That will be fun to see. Cool. I've got Principal ISS, challenge is well-being at school, which is digitally social. Jocelyn, intro to coding class, has games. Girls are not excited about games. And I would like to correlate girls' desire to be sophisticated and trendy while improving the world. So good example of a challenge, good example of your users, your girls, and how would addressing this challenge improve their experiences. Cool. Any other questions about these two first short answer questions? And yeah, it is 250 characters, so you may want to, that's why saving it on this document, and then if you go to submit and you see that those red errors pop up, you may have to do some wordsmithing, because it won't stop you here. I mean, you can keep writing in this Google Doc, but cool. Thanks, Simone. Abundance of opportunities for teachers to collaborate, but what about administrators? So yeah, again, talking to an administrator, getting a direct quote from them, or getting that story told from them would really come alive for sure. Elizabeth, your school suffers from lack of miscommunications. It's difficult to innovate. New projects die early. Awesome. So again, not putting that solution in there just yet, but showcasing in your video, why is this a problem, and how are you well suited to try to tackle it with this cohort. Claire, our students suffer from app over. Interesting. Yeah, Simone, in small and remote communities. So I think even if you guys look at your big buckets of challenges that you have, they all fall into those kind of transformation buckets. You'll see if you scroll down those transformation elements, we're going to ask you to think of what is that bigger element that your challenge resonates with. And it may be 2 or 3, but we'll ask you to think of, if you were to choose one of these, which one is it most concerned with? And so you may have that big one, but then as you're describing it, it's those little details that Simone just mentioned, like remote communities. That's what really, you know, might make it very specific and make your solution really specific and interesting, is how you tackle it from the point of view of your details, for sure. And let's see, Yelena, you're over the character limit. What if your challenge is only tangentially related to the project you want to propose during your mentorship? Maybe you can say more, Yelena. You definitely want, it sounds like you might have a solution, a project already. And some of you may have in your mind that initial solution or idea. But yeah, your challenge, you might want it to be what you're most concerned about right now, like the number one thing that's bothering you and that you want to work on for the year. But your solution might change, just like Ingvi mentioned. Or maybe even you change jobs halfway through and your challenge even changes. That happens too. But I think it's important that it is, you know, the top of mind focus for you right now in your job role. Cool. In the chat, maybe if coaches, you wanted to give any specific feedback as we move on to all these great challenge descriptions that have come in. Les, any other final thoughts on challenge descriptions after seeing a few of them come by in the chat?
Yeah, I would say try to be really specific in what makes this challenge unique, because a lot of these challenges, as you know, are common challenges that a lot of people have experienced in the past, and we really want to see how your challenge is something that relates to other people, that can be scalable so that other people could potentially benefit from whatever solution you create. But also that you really understand the problem deeply. So the more specific you can be, even though you only have a short amount of space and characters, it's a bit of a challenge to wordsmith it so that it shows that you really have a very specific problem that you really want to tackle, but that also that problem can is something that other people are experiencing outside of your immediate context as well.
Totally. And Jane, should the challenge in our video align with the challenge? Yes, absolutely. So really the video is just a visual element to describing your challenge and your users and your own background and why you might be a good person to solve it. But really making sure and trying super, super hard not to put the solution in just yet, because that might dock points on you, because innovators are looking for folks who aren't yet, really married to a solution, because we find if you are, when you show up, it's really hard to kind of let go of that and really let yourself think of crazy solutions, for sure. Cool. Let's keep looking in the application. If you guys have any other specific questions about these, let us know. You do also have here, I was just going to see if anyone has any other questions about the transform or advocate or grow short answers. Again, they're brief character count on purpose, really making you try to succinctly say what you mean on these three. So I know it's painful to write that, try to fit it all in, but don't worry, it doesn't have to be huge paragraphs. How can you say what you mean in the least characters possible? Giving 10 examples of things you'd put in a box. Obviously looking here for your creativity and your innovation. No right or wrong answers here at all. Advocate, so just like Jesse and Ingvi, Meta, Les, our innovators here, they're choosing innovators to join the cohort that are sharers and that are advocates for change globally. So knowing that you're out there and sharing your story in whatever way that looks like, blogging, podcasting, writing, whatever it looks like, we want to know that you like to create and share. So whatever that is, put that down in there, something you're really proud of online. And then grow. And this is just seeing your aptitude for wanting to be a lifelong learner. So what new talent would you choose to have and why? Cool. If you have any questions about the transform, advocate, or grow, throw that in. Chantel, is there a character count for the 10 items? Oh, that's a good question. I'll take a peek on the back end here for you just to double check. Sometimes you think innovation's too big of a word, Cecile, or is it Cecil? Cecil? Yeah, maybe elaborate on that. And feel free, other folks in the chat too. We'll have you drop in your Twitter handles if you want to connect, but a lot of you are working around similar challenges and may end up in the cohort with each other. So do build your PLN now by dropping in your Twitter handles, and our coaches too. Hopefully you can connect with them online and maybe throw your video if you want any more feedback after today. Cecil. Oh, it was close. Thanks, Cecil. Cool. Looks like no other questions on these. Thanks, Les, for dropping that in. Cool. And then finally, we have our innovation video, so 90 seconds. Again, really looking at the prompt itself and just make sure that your video addresses these. So explain the challenge. It should be that same challenge that you talked about earlier. Why does it matter? Who it affects, right? So all of you pointed out right now, I think most of you have student users, some of you have teacher users, some of you have administrator users, and that's your main focus. It's not, you really want to focus on talking to those direct people. And Les will have you, if you get into the cohort, she'll have you spend the time before you come to the academy interviewing those users and really getting to the heart of the problem. So right now is a good idea to either go talk to them or think about who you would talk to if you were accepted into the academy to really help them. And I know it's silly, but it happens every time. Double check your YouTube link, open an incognito window, make sure it can be viewed, because unfortunately we can't let you know and have you open it up or anything. So always a good idea to double check your links. Same with your level 2 certificate. Just open it up and double check and make sure it's viewable. It's a really simple thing, but because of the volume of applications, we're not able to help you out and let you know it's to change it for us. And then, yeah, just passion and personality. So I think that's the biggest thing. How do you let that come through, whatever that might be? I've got a few examples, and I'll go ahead and throw in the chat. You guys can pull up. Probably the best one is the most recent LA cohort, just because their prompt was the exact same prompts as yours. So let me drop them into the chat, and you can see their videos. So just to get an idea of what they look like as you're starting to script it out, and visually you can see they're all super different. So there's not a real formula for what they look like or should look like, as long as it you know, has some creative element and answers the prompt and sounds like you. Cool. Any questions, guys, about the video itself? Anybody have any ideas on how they're going to shoot it? Or is there any brave soul who wants to share their video actually with us, and we can check it out? Here's the LAX cohort I have on screen. And if you just click through, you can see her challenge video. I'll pull up Abby's. Thanks, Abby, in advance. Let's take a peek at hers.
America, we have a serious problem. 23% of students in the U.S. live in poverty. 1 out of 3 students lack basic reading proficiency. And we rank 32nd in math in a global economy where numbers and mathematical practices are king. A student drops out every 26 seconds.
Studies show that underserved students receive less instruction in the higher order thinking skills.
So you can see here with Abby's, again, a different storytelling approach than Ingvi's. But still pretty powerful. And she stayed right at the 90-second mark, so do make sure you do that. And you can, even when you're done making it, even after as you're waiting to hear, you know, you spent time on your video, and even if you don't get into the cohort, is a really fun way to, you know, that's still a challenge, regardless if you join us in Copenhagen, and maybe you can still use this to get folks on board to help solve your problem as well. Cool. I'll go to the chat really quick. Thanks, Meta. Thanks, guys, for sharing this in. Thanks for lurking, Jennifer. Totally, lurk away. And now you have some great people in your network to follow. You can follow the Google EI hashtag for sure, and continue to join us for next year's series of webinars on creating a really strong application. I'll leave it open now. Any final questions on either your short answer questions or your video, or level 2 if you're still thinking of that? Let us know. I'll leave it open. I don't have a good opening, Cecil. Start recording like right now, and you already have planned 60 seconds. Principal ISS, you can see other innovators work on that site that I just dropped in. And then you also can see them in the Google Transformation Center. So I'll drop that link in for you as well. If you choose, here we go. There's a spot to choose a drop-down for innovation projects. As you're looking for resource types, you can do innovator ideas. And then search. And then it'll pull up a nice database of complete projects. And the goal of your final project is to be accessible and replicable for other teachers around the world. And that will be your goal at the end of the year, is to create something that, you know, whatever scale it is, could be really huge. Lots of, some innovators have made apps or full programs or books, or maybe it's small and just a guide on how to implement your idea in the classroom, or even a lesson plan it may end up being. The scale is really up to you, but here's some really great examples to get you thinking. I'll drop that in for you. Thanks, Gregory, for joining. So you should share more about yourself and qualifications than for the solution, Andy. Yeah, definitely. You probably don't want to focus too much on solutions. You really want to share that you understand what the challenge is and that you've talked to some of your users. And then your personality can be in there too, right? So at some point you'll probably want to say, I'm Ingvi or I'm Abby, and here's why I think I can solve this. Not necessarily here's how I think I'm going to solve this, really more that you are an innovative educator, and that you're ready to meet 35 other innovators and try to tackle this with them. Awesome. Thanks for joining us, Les. Thanks, coaches. Any final words or thoughts before you see some of these people in Copenhagen to go shopping and eating?
I think they should, like I said before, be themselves, and then I think they should do something simple but with a very strong message. And I think that that if they, for instance, say that they want to have joy and fun in teaching, then their video should reflect that, and not just being one person standing just very seriously talking about the challenge, but actually reflecting the joy. So walk the talk, if you can say that.
Thanks, Meta. And Jocelyn, does it need to have your face in it? You know, it doesn't have to. I think maybe you saw with Abby's, I think hers was voiceover with footage from the classroom and her voice in it. So it doesn't have to have your face in it. It is nice to see you. And those often are very fun to watch when you do get on. You could always do picture in picture. Or maybe you edit in your face sometimes, or at least have a picture of you, like Abby threw herself at the end. So there isn't a rubric that says, you know, must have face, but I think must have personality is definitely in the requirements for when innovators are scoring that.
Wendy.
Yeah.
I had a keynote on Friday and I did 68 slides all with Bitmoji. You can do a video with, if you don't want to put your face in there or something like that, you can do Bitmojis just with your, with like different, and you can use that for different kinds of it's really cool because there's a Bitmoji for everything.
Because we still can get your personality from that, and it looks remarkably like you. So
yeah, you can narrate it or whatever if you want to do. You can add it to the, but I agree. It's good to see people's faces and their personality, what they're doing, but you know, I did 68 slides with every single one of them have Bitmoji on it.
Every single Bitmoji possibility.
Yes.
All 68. That's a good challenge. You tell your whole life you're using only Bitmoji pre-existing. I like it. Thanks, Ingvi. Jesse or Dan, any other final words to our prospective innovators joining us today?
I'm just really excited to hear their big ideas. I'm still going to stick with the advice I started with. Be yourself. Let us see those personalities in the video and the application. Have fun with it.
Totally. And share away. We'd love to see it when you do it. And if you don't get in this time, please apply again. September 21st, midnight Central European time is the deadline. So don't leave it all the way up until then, just in case your time zones are off if you're somewhere else. So make sure to submit it, and you'll find out within a week if you've been accepted, and the fun will begin. But if not, and you're like our gal who joined us and is thinking for 2019, you can take your video, take your short answers, and keep working on it, and hopefully apply again in 2019. Thanks, Jane, for coming. Thanks, Steve. Dan, are you still there? Any other final words or goodbye? All right, Dan, we'll see you at the Christmas markets. He's already planning his way there. Thanks, Ayala. Next cohorts are announced at the beginning of the year. So this is the last English-speaking cohort of the year. So get those applications in, just like Jesse said, and Ingvi, don't overthink it. Press submit and see what happens. Thanks, guys, for joining us. Have a great rest of your week, and good luck on your applications. Bye.